¿Dónde? Oh,
Hola, ¿cómo están?
la maestra es aquí.
Ah,
Está,
ok.
está aquí, I guess. Está aquí.
Está aquí, sí, está aquí. Muy bien. Ok. Ah, hoy, bueno, sí. Estoy a tiempo. Wow, I'm on time for once. Okay. Los miércoles es difícil. It's hard for me on Wednesdays. I gotta, sign off on the in-law and I found out interesting. There are these little glitches with Zoom. It work for me getting into this. It works better if I delete the old meeting. If I just turn it off and come in here, there's always something that goes wrong. If I delete the old meeting and then I come, then it likes that. Like, go figure. Yeah, I have
I have a Duolingo question that I'm going to type up for a minute so we can
sí,
see
sí,
it.
sí, exacto. Muy bien, muy bien. Dime, do tell me.
Okay.
And I'm seeing lots of things that Duolingo is now like, boy, 3 mistakes and you're out, and you gotta. They're making it more difficult.
Very different, and they're where they used to give you something and you wouldn't see anything about it for a month or two. Now an educator has gone through and and obviously integrated, so they are backing up 4 and 5 lessons to pull something forward in a thread through all your. It used to take me 4 days to do a lesson, and it's taking me 7 to 8 now because it's much more complicated. And
they are connecting the concepts.
They are
then
connecting.
Well, they hired someone. Good for them.
I mean, they truly hired. They did. They had to have hired an educator.
Okay.
All right.
Bien.
Here's the simple sentence.
Hoy me quitaron una muela. Sí.
And they translated it as I had a molar removed today.
Well, yes, but yes, because that's what we would say. Hoy me quitaron una muela, literalmente. Today, they're taking a molar out from me.
So it
or they did. They took out.
It can't be quito. It can't be.
It could be quito. Sí, 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 sí.
Sí,
es posible. Es posible decir, hoy me quitó una muela. Hoy, ok, por ejemplo, para más contexto, hoy me quitó una muela el dentista. Today, the dentist took a molar out.
Right.
And it's almost always me quito because you mention who it got pulled out from.
Right.
It's so, por ejemplo, mi esposo, otro ejemplo, pero sin me y con le. Hoy mi esposo fue al dentista y el dentista le quitó una muela. El dentista le quitó a mi esposo una muela.
That makes sense. So the le or the me was who it got done to.
Exacto. Muy bien. Excelente.
I couldn't understand the ending on the verb. It doesn't make sense the way it.
Pues, okay. Es como en inglés decimos, well, they took out a molar. And the they is, who's the they? It's whatever. It's the dentist, whoever was assisting him. So, the quitaron is actually kind of a natural thing because probably the dentist wasn't the only guy in the room. There were other people helping him. So they took out a molar. They did this. Oh, they got me a crown. Oh, they got, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the they did it. The kind of nebulous, fuzzy they.
But you see, they'll mark you wrong if you use another ending. And I thought, how can that be? This doesn't make sense.
Pero sí, quitaron. Sí, es posible. Yeah. So, yeah. And the me always tells who that happened to. And with dental work, it's always done that way. And it's always quitar. Quitar is take away, or, take out. Quitar literally, the quitar is to take something away from somebody else. So it's like that whole thing of taking candy from a baby, that would be quitar. Okay. Although in that case, they might use robar, rob it from the baby. Es buena pregunta, sí. But, it depends. It's the point of view of the speaker, If we're speaking in very general terms, they took out a molar. How we do that kind of a lot in English. Oh, they took out instead of he did it.
Yeah.
And now, Diane, you've inadvertently given us the phrase, learning Spanish is like having a tooth pulled.
Aprender español es como quitarle una muela. Ay, qué horror. Ok, muy bien. Sí, me gusta. Okay. I was looking for fun videos for class from the FIFA World Cup, but a lot of them degenerate into Mexicans becoming quite irate over the fact that you cannot party hardy in Qatar as they would anywhere else. You cannot hug your buds. You cannot go out and get totally wasted. You can get alcohol. They said, that's really actually kind of false. You can get alcohol, but in very limited settings. So the Spanish sporting world, the YouTubers have descended upon Qatar to celebrate or lament the state of how they can celebrate in Qatar. I started to decide that some of these are a little more complex than what people would enjoy listening to. Hoy sí, bueno, son las 10. Ok. Antes de empezar, ¿hay alguna pregunta? Hay otra pregunta. Diana tenía una pregunta de hoy me quitaron una muela. She had a Duolingo question. Is there any other kind of hanging kind of question you want to start with before we start our other stuff? Sí o no?
I have one, and I didn't write it down. I was sort of like half asleep. I was looking at it. But in the, I think it was in the video of where the gal was taking us around Buenos Aires. She used the word hacia, kind of like, I looked at it 6 times and I couldn't figure out what she was saying. It wasn't like, hacer. It was like a totally different context. And I apologize. I'll try to find it for next session. I'll get at
Was
least
it?
make
Yeah,
this question intelligent.
Might it have been hacia without an accent, sin acento, or was it hacia?
You know what? That would have been more than I would have noticed.
Look that up and let me know, because there is a word hacia. I will write it in the chat box here. Actually, no, I'll put it up on the screen because if anybody watches it. Ooh, I got new whiteboards now. I had to learn how to use these. El whiteboard, el pizarrón es distinto. The whiteboard is different now. Hay muchísimas cosas que se puede hacer. There are lots of things you can do. Okay, depende. Por ejemplo, hay la palabra, tenemos la palabra aquí como hacia, que es toward, sin acento, without.
I think that was what it was.
Okay, entonces, hacia, que no se pronuncia hacia, ¿ok? Hay gran diferencia. Hacia es una preposición, creo, sí. Toward, in the direction of, it's kind of a fancier word than using a for to. Okay, because it's toward. Okay, so that's a little different than to in English. Okay, por ejemplo, un uso de hacia sería como, sí, un hombre, el hombre caminó hacia el sur. The man walked towards the south. Or caminó hacia la orilla. He walked towards the shore. That's maybe a better example.
Let me just interrupt for a second. Is anyone else having trouble with the new whiteboard that it's only covering a small piece of my screen, and
Really?
I'm missing most of what you're writing.
Ooh.
No, I can see it pretty good.
You can see it. Let me try to plug it. Oh, can I plug it in a different way? Vamos a ver. Let's see. Okay. We'll do a different screen here.
I wonder what I need to do to get this to look better.
Yeah, and I didn't use an enlargement. So let's see if you can.
Okay, I've just put that screen now on full screen, so it's fine now, but that's not how it came up.
Okay.
And I have to find the button for that.
Okay. But I'll try to be mindful of that.
I think this is what I saw in the video, and it confused me. I didn't really take note that it didn't have the accent over the E.
Yeah, and I try not to get too much into the mire of accent marks, although actually they're not that complicated a subject, but people find it a little bit mystifying in a lot of cases. Even my teenage students did. El hombre caminó hacia la orilla. The man walked towards shore. It's just toward, in the direction of. That's all hacia means. Pero es hacia, y hay gran diferencia. Si tenemos la palabra hacia, es un verbo, ¿sí? I was doing, or he was doing, I used to do something, or because hacer means to do, to make, it could mean I used to make, I was making, okay. It can mean any of those things, depende. It depends on the context. So, hacia es un verbo, pero hacia no, es preposición, hacia, toward. Okay, ¿sí? Bien. Okay. Dime, Mark, si es otra cosa, sí, más tarde. Yeah, just let me know with a quick email if it's this hacia that I think it is, or if it's a question of hacia in a different context, because hacer can be used in a lot of contexts. Okay. Bueno, hay otra pregunta. Antes de empezar, ¿o no? 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 Bien. Okay. You can see the second screen okay, Mark?
Yeah, I just had to hunt somewhere in that box, your new screen, your new whiteboard box, that
okay.
There was a little button that said view, and I was able to get the full screen choice so I could see it.
Okay. A ver, okay. I was sort of told the benefit of me using the new whiteboard they have is that I can see people's faces while I'm writing, or at least see some of your faces while I'm writing on the whiteboard. The other thing I've been told is that eventually the old whiteboard is probably going to go bye-bye, that they're going to just eventually migrate to using this. So I decided I better get on the stick and learn how to use it. Okay. No es difícil. It's not exactly hard. Okay. Vamos a empezar. Vamos a practicar como siempre, sí. Pero vamos a empezar con algo como un ejercicio de calentar. Well, this will be like a warm-up drill. It's an easy kind of, creo que es fácil, yeah. Es un quiz, una prueba de pretérito. It's kind of a preterite quiz. Let's see how you do. she's gonna quit. Her poor husband, el pobre Cody, poor Cody. But he's a good guy. Actually, his Spanish is getting way better. I kind of follow him now that they're living in Colombia full time. He is getting way better. Pero, sí, es un ejercicio. Pretérito indefinido. You may see this referred to in the upper corner of the screen in the title, en el título. El título dice, nos dice, pretérito indefinido es pretérito. There are like 6 different grammatical terms for preterite. You don't need to know what they are, why. Sometimes it's called pretérito simple, pero es pretérito. Okay.
Prueba tu español y el español de Cody con un tema muy específico en español que es el pasado. Pero no te preocupes, vamos a hacer este quiz sencillo, facilito, porque solamente nos vamos a enfocar.
Y voy a incorporar, I'm gonna get this in, but with Spanish subtitles. I need to. Uy, ay, a ver. Eso no. Okay. A ver. Bien. Okay, mejor.
Nos vamos a enfocar en un tipo de pasado, que es el indefinido. Ahora tú te preguntarás, ¿pero qué carajos es el indefinido?
¿Qué
¿Cierto?
carajos?
That's what I was thinking.
No te preocupes.
The reason he's laughing, ¿qué carajos? What the hell is that? That's why he's
Tenemos que
chuckling.
aprender esas cosas tan técnicas. El indefinido son verbos como, por ejemplo, comí, dormí, bailé, acciones que ya terminaron en el pasado.
Okay, actions that already finished up or ended in the past.
Específicamente, terminaron, punto. No estamos describiendo una acción, no estamos describiendo una situación.
No estamos describiendo. Sí, con el pretérito no estamos describiendo. We are not describing. Okay, so she is trying to focus people on what kind of past it is. No es el imperfecto.
Simplemente estamos informando que algo ya pasó y terminó.
It already
Entonces,
finished and it's over with.
facilito. Aquí en pantalla vas a ver la oración en presente que yo voy a decir y tu tarea y la tarea de Cody es transformar esa oración a indefinido, a pasado. ¿Listo? ¿Puedes contarnos en inglés qué tenemos que hacer?
The thing's going to pop up on the bottom of the screen like the word, I guess, in present, and we need to try to transform that word into past.
La oración completa.
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to do the complete sentence, not just the word, the complete sentence. Don't be lazy.
Sí, no, y quiero que lo hagas en voz alta. Quiero que uses tu español, no importa si estás en tu casa, en la oficina. No deberías estar viendo este video en la oficina. Pero si estás en tu casa, quiero que lo digas en voz alta, ¿vale? La primera oración es voy a comer. Voy a comer.
Voy a comer, I'm going to eat, y vamos a expresar en el pasado. Sin la palabra voy, okay? We have to throw out the voy because voy es el futuro. Entonces vamos a enfocarnos en comer. ¿Sí? El
Comer.
pasado.
Comí.
Comí.
Sorry, I spaced out there for a moment.
Ay, Dios mío. Ahora, Cody, ¿puedes ayudarnos a transformar esa oración a pasado?
Yes, my pleasure. Yes.
Voy a comer.
Ya
El
comí.
verbo ir. Voy a comer. Yo voy a comer.
And that is comí. Voy a comí.
Voy a comer is what he
Profe,
said.
póngale 0. mal.
No, mal.
No,
Hagámoslo otra vez.
Let's try that again.
A ver, otra vez. Voy a comer.
Fui a comer.
Fui a comer.
Oh, she did
Yo
not throw that out. Okay, I forgot what order she. Fui a comer. Okay, she did use that. Comí, sí. Comí literalmente sería correcto también. So comí would be okay. I forgot she is not throwing out the voy. She is leaving that one in. Okay, fui a comer. Vale.
Fui ayer.
I
por
went
ejemplo,
to eat.
Ayer fui
Okay.
a comer. Hoy voy
Pero
a comer.
ustedes
recuerda
entendieron.
que
You
en
guys got it.
español no es
Oh, excuse me.
necesario. No es
Sí, sí.
Why was voy a comí not correct?
Voy a comer. No, ella dijo, oh, muy malo. Yeah, that is really bad. Comí would be an okay. She probably would have been cool with comí. All right. Because, I'm going to eat. I ate. But she wanted, I was going to eat. Fui a comer. But fui a comer. No se puede decir fui a comí. We can't combine when we've got those two verbs working together, right? The first verb gets conjugated, the second one stays in infinitive. So fui a comer, pero fui a comí, no, nunca, no se puede. That one you cannot do. Pero fui a comer, sí. Okay. Fui a comer.
So you could respond, just call me. I ate.
Oh, sí, claro, sí, yes. And I had forgotten because I've been through about 20 videos between last night and now. So I had forgotten which one she was focusing on. She was focusing on the ir part. Okay.
Decir la persona. No es necesario decir yo, tú, él, ella. Lo puedes hacer, pero en el español hablado normalmente no lo hacemos. No es necesario. Con el verbo ya sabemos quién hace la acción. La siguiente oración es duermo muy bien. ¿Cómo se diría eso ayer?
Duermo muy bien. Tenemos un verbo. We've just got that one verb.
Dormí.
Muy bien.
Ayer.
Dormí muy bien.
Dormí muy bien.
Muy bien, bravo.
Sí.
Dormí muy bien. Siguiente. Me levanto de buen ánimo.
Me levanto de buen ánimo. Y queremos decir I got up, no I get up.
Maybe me levanté.
Me levanté. Me levanté. Es importante. Me levanté. Levanté. Okay. Me levanté es otra cosa. It is possible. Es posible decir me levante. It is possible to say me levante. I will show you why after we're done with this video. Es muy importante aquí. Me levanté. Te. Tenemos que dar énfasis en la sílaba te al fin. Okay.
Me levanto de buen ánimo.
So it would be me levanté buen ánimo.
Me levanté de buen ánimo.
De buen ánimo, qué pena.
¿Sabes qué significa de buen ánimo?
I guess that's like in a good mood.
Bien, sí. In a good mood. Me levanté con buena energía, con buena actitud, de buen ánimo. Siguiente. Sara y yo hacemos ejercicio. Sara y yo hacemos ejercicio.
Sí, es un verbo muy irregular. Hacer. Esto es difícil.
Haga.
Así mismo.
Haga es como un mandato. That would be like a command. Es posible decir hagamos, pero hagamos es como let's exercise. ¿Sí? Hagamos ejercicio es como let's. We're saying I want us all to do it. Y no es así. Queremos el pasado. We want the past.
Hicimos.
Bien.
So it would be Sara y yo hicimos ejercicio.
Bravísimo.
Eso sí.
Gracias.
Ayer hicimos ejercicio. Es una acción que ya terminó y te estoy informando. Ya terminó. Ayer hicimos
So
eso.
she
¿Listo?
said, I'm just telling you that this is something we did and it's done with now. And that's why it's hicimos.
Bien. Siguiente. Camilo no juega fútbol. Camilo no juega fútbol.
Bien. No juega fútbol. El pasado. Jugar. Juego es yo ahora. Juego. Jugar. El verbo es muy importante. El verbo, el infinitivo es jugar. Jugar,
Jugar,
no,
okay.
no juegar. Jugar.
Go. Go.
Okay. Camilo no jugó fútbol.
Muy
Jugó.
bien, y bien hecho, Cody, por ese énfasis. Jugó.
Yeah, because if not, it sounds the same as juice, right?
Sí,
Eso es.
atención.
So here is where the accent mark makes a difference. If jugo también es palabra, pero jugo es la cosa que bebemos. ¿Sí?
Yeah.
Jugo de naranja, jugo de tomate, bleh. Jugo de piña, así, ¿ok?
Cuando tenemos un verbo en pasado como este, tiene una tilde en la palabra, en la letra final, en la O. Ahí tienes que poner fuerza. Jugó, jugó. ¿Listo? Si no pones ese énfasis, la palabra suena jugo, jugo, que es juice.
Yeah, juice. Yeah, this is something I kind of struggle with is you really need to make sure you put the emphasis on the words. You can't just be lazy with, like you can be in English with your words, you have to really put the emphasis.
Jugó.
Jugó.
Muy bien. Siguiente. Esta es difícil. Este es un verbo que no es muy frecuente, pero vamos a tomar el reto. Ready for the
We're going to
challenge?
take a
Let's do it.
challenge,
La
yeah.
oración es: me distraigo en clase.
Sí, es difícil. Distraigo. Traigo es I bring. Distraigo es distracted. Sí, es muy irregular. Traer, ok. Distraer tiene traer. Any verb that has an irregular, that is built upon an irregular, will do the same thing as that irregular verb. Okay. And another example that would be easier to understand would be tener. Tener es muy irregular en el pretérito, ¿no? Pero mantener, maintain, también es como tener. So anytime I take tener and I build a different verb upon that existing verb, tener, like mantener, maintain, or detener, to detain, to stop, it will conjugate like tener. So distraer will conjugate like traer. Muy, muy irregular. Si no entienden, if you don't get this one, it's not really a big deal. Tiene una J. I will give you one clue. Una pista. Una J. It's got a J. Muy difícil. Okay.
Me
Vamos a ver.
distraigo en clase.
Okay, so this one would be me distraje en clase.
Me distraje.
Me distraje en clase.
Muy bien. Aquí no tenemos ninguna tilde, entonces no
Yeah,
vamos
no
a
accent mark, so
tener
it's
un
distraje.
énfasis en la última.
Traje.
So me
Yeah.
distraje.
Traje, trajo, trajiste, trajimos. Sí, esto sí es difícil. And this is not something you would use
Traje.
every day. She
No.
mentioned it was a
Distraje.
challenge. Me distraje. I
Distraje.
got.
Tarara.
Me distraje es I got distracted. Eso es. Okay.
Distraje.
Muy bien.
No.
Distraje.
Distraje.
Ese es el verbo distraerse, to get distracted.
Yeah, distracted, yeah.
¿Listo? Me distraje. Me distraigo, me distraje. Difícil. No te preocupes si no lo sabías. Bueno, este sí es más fácil porque es más frecuente. Lo usamos
This is a more
usualmente
frequent verb.
en nuestra vida diaria. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Frecuente? En fin. ¿Almuerzas a la 1?
Almuerzas a la 1. Y vamos a cambiar la idea a did you have lunch at 1?
Almuerciste a la 1.
Casi,
Oh.
almost. No es iste.
No, almoraste.
Almorzaste.
Eso. Bien. Sí, almorzar. Y fíjense, notice los verbos como jugar, almorzar, que tenemos UE, those UE stem changers. Most of them, the majority of them tend to be a lot of them tend to be AR type of verbs. Okay. And AR verbs that have a stem change do not get a stem change in pretérito. So it goes back from UE into an O because the original verb is almorzar. Okay. The original verb with jugó was jugar. Okay. And that's one of those. Yeah, I know. J-U, not J-O. But
Almuerzas a la una.
What's the sentence again?
Almuerzas a la una.
Okay. So, almorzaste a la una.
¿Otra vez?
Almorzaste a la una.
Bueno, atención a la pronunciación.
Oh, okay. What did I do wrong?
Bueno, yo escuché almuerzaste.
So it's almorzaste. Almorzaste
Almorzaste.
a la una. So almorzaste.
Muy bien.
Okay.
Almorzaste a la una.
Almorzaste a la una.
Muy bien. Y lo vamos a hacer con un tono de pregunta, porque es una pregunta. Si no ponemos el tono de pregunta, no vamos a saber, porque en español no hay una manera de saber si algo es pregunta o no, a menos que pongas la entonación correcta. Almorzaste a la una.
so your voice
¿Sí ves
goes
que
up
sube?
at the end.
Almorzaste a la una.
Almorzaste a la una.
Bien. Siguiente. Esta también es un poquito difícil porque no es un verbo muy usual, muy frecuente en nuestras
Okay, she's
conversaciones
throwing in a
diarias. ¿Te
harder verb.
confundes?
Ay, sí, te confundes. Do you get confused? And what we want to ask is, did you get confused? Which would be a more normal question. Confundir. El verbo es confundirse, mejor, sí. Confundirse.
Confundiste.
Bien. Sí, con el pronombre te, claro. Sí.
¿Confundes?
Te confundes.
So I would say,
Y queremos, did you get
¿te
confused?
confundiste?
Bien.
Excelente,
¿Te
sí.
confundiste? Ayer te confundiste. ¿Qué es confundirse en inglés?
So that's confused.
To get confused.
Yeah.
Muy bien, listo. Siguiente. Preparo una ensalada.
Algo fácil. Prepara una ensalada.
Preparé
Preparé.
ensalada.
Es para yo.
Preparé.
Preparé.
Preparo
Eso
una
sí.
ensalada.
Preparé.
Ayer.
Preparé una ensalada.
Bien. Ayer
Exacto.
preparé una ensalada. Siguiente. Otra pregunta. Atención a la entonación de pregunta. ¿Practicas algún deporte? ¿Practicas algún deporte? Ayer.
Y queremos, did you practice some kind of sport? Any kind of sport? Practicar es el verbo.
Practicaste.
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 Eso, sí.
So, ¿practicaste algún deporte?
Muy bien. ¿Practicaste
Muy bien.
algún deporte?
¿Practicaste algún deporte?
Muy bien. Siguiente oración. Fácil, fácil. Atención.
Easy, yeah.
No me gusta esa película.
No me gusta esta película. Y la expresión será, it's going to be, I did not like that movie. And not, I didn't used to like it, but, I just didn't like it.
No me gustó.
No me gustó.
No me gustó.
No me gustó. Casi. La pronunciación otra vez, ¿sí? El énfasis. No es gusto.
No me
Gustó.
gustó. No me gustó.
Gustó. Eso es. Bien, ok.
No me gusta esa película.
So this is no me gustó esa película.
Esa.
No me gustó esa película.
Bien. Ella habla 3 idiomas.
Ella habla. fácil otra vez. Ella habla.
Ella hablé tres
Ella,
idiomas.
ella habló tres idiomas.
Habló.
Habló
Ella habla
con la O.
3 idiomas. Ayer, ¿qué?
Ah, ella habló 3 idiomas.
Muy bien, habló. Ayer ella habló. Pasado. Mis papás me llaman por teléfono. Mis
Mis papás. Sí, my parents, my mom and dad. Me llaman, plural.
Llamaran.
Llamaban como, llamaban es como were calling me, or used to call me. Y queremos como ayer.
Me llamaban.
Ah, llamaron.
papás me
Llamaron.
llaman por teléfono.
Mis papás me llamaron por teléfono.
Bien, pero tenemos que trabajar en la pronunciación.
Okay.
¿Otra vez?
So is it, mis papás llamaron por teléfono.
Ojo, no sé si tú lo estás escuchando. Cody está diciendo llamaron,
Mhm.
pero ojo, la palabra es llamaron.
Llamaron. Sí.
Esta es tu mandíbula y cuando
Yeah,
pronuncias
this is
la
your jaw.
A, tu mandíbula debe caer.
Yeah, your jaw should drop. She does a very good job of showing this thing of, the eh. We smile on an eh, right? But with an thing, your jaw does actually have to drop a little bit, to get that out properly. Okay, because is a closed sound. Okay, how you actually use your muscles does morph how that sound is going to come out. See, llamaron.
So it's mis papás llamaron.
Muy bien. Mis papás llamaron.
Mis papás llamaron por teléfono.
Okay. And the tough thing for a lot of people is that because this me has to come in front of the verb, a lot of people look at me and they automatically are thinking yo. All right. But this is not the me of a reflexive where the me is going to go with a yo verb. This is they did something to me. Okay. They called me. So the me has no connection in form to how the verb is going to form. The me has to be there because it has to be in front of the verb. But the me does not say, oh, I'm going to match up with that verb. Okay. So a lot of people start saying, oh, I must need a yo verb. But no, we're talking about mis papás doing that action or having done that action. Me llamaron.
Muy bien.
Mis papás llamaron por teléfono.
Muy bien, bien, mucho mejor. ¿Cuántas veces vas al dentista? ¿Cuántas veces vas al dentista?
Y difícil porque vas viene de ir. Ir es un verbo muy irregular.
Fuiste.
Fuiste.
¿Cuántas veces fuiste al dentista?
Eso
¿Otra
es, sí.
vez?
¿Cuántas veces fuiste al dentista?
Ojo, ¿cuántas?
¿Cuántas veces fuiste al dentista?
Muy bien. ¿Cuántas veces fuiste? Tú fuiste. ¿Cuántas veces tú fuiste al dentista? Muy bien. Y la última oración para terminar el quiz. ¿Me llamas? ¿Me llamas?
Me llamas. And this could be interpreted as, will you call me? Okay. If somebody looks at you and says, me llamas, they're with you. They know you're not. All right. Well, I guess you could be calling like that instead of on the phone. But usually when people ask this question, they're saying, like, will you call me? Because we can interpret that as kind of a near future. Did you call me?
Me llamaste.
¿Tú me llamas?
¿Tú me llamaste ayer?
Bien, sí.
Tú me llamaste.
Sí, muy bien. Puedes añadir el ayer o la semana pasada, el mes pasado, ¿no? Pero si dices tú me llamaste, ya sabemos que estamos hablando del pasado. Por ejemplo, yo veo mi teléfono. Ay, Cody, ¿me llamaste? Did you call me? ¿Me llamaste?
We started off a little rocky, but we finished strong.
Sí, y eso es, es exactamente. Yeah, he started out a little rocky, but he did finish strong. Sí, es importante. Ok, a ver. Bueno, entonces, muy bien.
That was a
Es-
good exercise. I like that. That was good exercise.
Sí, es buen ejercicio, sí, porque muchas veces pensamos en el presente, sí, y ayuda mucho a cambiar el tiempo desde el presente a una expresión en el pasado. It does help to do that quite a lot. Bien, ok. Que hoy sí. Vale, bueno. Vamos a ver. I do want to show you. Uy, trato de recordar. I'm trying to remember the exact example we had. Uy, a ver. Bye. Aquí, ok, mejor. Eso del acento. This thing about those accent marks does become important. Oh, sí. Por ejemplo, con jugo versus, uy, a ver. Versus, sí, jugó. Jugó. This whole thing about accent marks, you're not writing things out. Some of you do, in your practice, which is fine. But when we're speaking, of course, you don't see it. One of the benefits that Cody could not see those sentences written out. He was doing this all from just listening to it. So he had a much harder, setup. He couldn't see the sentence written out. Jugó, you have to listen really closely when people start to speak faster and faster. This thing of like listening really, really carefully for where the emphasis is can be a difficult thing. Okay, so jugó, right? And people are never going to exaggerate it for you like we do in an isolated lesson, like jugó. See, jugó. That's how fast it will go. Jugó. Pero jugó es juice. Y jugó es he played or she played. Okay. Pero es más difícil. A better thing to show you is that this thing of like punching the right syllable can become critically important because there are, ahora recuerdo. Now I remember which example we had. We have me levanto. Sí, me levanto. Uy, a ver. Ay, momentito. Aquí, ok. Me levanto y me levanté. Me levanté. Okay. So what I was hearing sometimes was me levante. Hay gran diferencia entre me levanté y me levante. You may think, well, no big deal. This is one of those NBD, no big deal mistakes. If I say me levante instead of me levanté, they'll know what I mean. They may not. Ay, Dios mío, they may not. Here is why not. Punching that right syllable, the correct syllable with this preterite thing es super importante. It is really, really super important. Here is an example of when I could use me levante, and me levante really does exist, but it exists on a different plane, meaning a totally different thing. So it's really important to pronounce I got up as me levante. Okay. And so when I'm emphasizing it in a lesson, it'll sound like me levanté, but in real conversation, me levanté a la una. Okay. So you got to listen harder. Me levanté, right? Because, okay. Here is when I might hear me levante. Es un verbo legítimo. It is a legitimate verb. Por ejemplo, si mamá quiere que me levante temprano. And that means something totally different from me levanté. It does not mean got up. Me levanté throws this into what they call subjunctive. So me levanté is over with. I did it in the past, but me levante exists. And it means mom wants
Me to get
me
up early.
to get up early. Or literally, wanted to move that little button out of the way. Mom, okay, literally wants that I should get up early. Whether or not I'm getting up early has not yet happened. Okay. Because mom wants somebody else to do something, that verb me levante means something else to a Spanish speaker. Me levante means something specific. It means something that hasn't happened yet. It might happen. It might not happen. Ooh, there's a lot of doubt on the part of the listener. Well, mom wants that activity of getting up to happen, but we don't know if it will happen. So me levante has a meaning in Spanish, and its meaning is that somebody else desires this action to happen, but it isn't a part of reality yet. Or it's even possibly, maybe doubtful that it will happen yet. So when somebody, if you don't pronounce the me levanté with that punch on the e, that verb now means something else. And without that context of mom wants somebody else to do something, you could potentially kind of confuse your listener. So that's one of those things where the writing the accent, I don't really emphasize that, but when you're speaking, it does have to come out as me levanté. Bien? Okay?
Right. So Marilyn, in general, when we see an accent on the end of a verb, that's usually a preterite.
No, not, depende. It depends. No. It may not be a preterite. Por ejemplo, it could be a number of things is the short answer to that. The long answer is that there are a lot of verbs that will carry what we call an accent mark. You'll hear it, like she refers at Maria in their video refers to them as tilde, which means an accent mark, tilde. Okay. But no, many verbs in many tenses do carry an accent mark. And I'll show you with, well, let's take comer as an example because it's super generic and super easy to use. And it's a verb we use a lot. How do I get all those to go away? Okay. Comer. Okay. Presente, present. You're not going to hear a lot of accent marks, but comí, comiste. Comiste no lleva acento. Comiste has no accent mark. Bien. Comí, I ate. ¿Verdad? Pero, a ver. Hi. A ver. Trying to get my cursor to go in the right place.
If you are typing, we are not seeing any
Oh.
new information.
Ooh, you're not seeing it. Okay.
No,
Oui,
We're
¿qué
seeing-
pasó?
we're seeing all of the Hugo and mom wants me to get up. early.
Oh,
That's what
okay,
we're seeing.
okay. Wow. Okay, something I need to. Eso no. Okay, you can see the Hugo, right?
See,
See,
Yeah.
okay. I'm just going to write over this here. Oh, this is another thing I need to learn to use. Uy, y ahora
it's
se me
gone.
olvidó. Okay,
Now
now you
it's
can see it.
gone.
Now it's gone. Okay.
Now it's gone.
A ver, entonces, sí, okay. Acentos. What does it mean to see accent marks? Well, it means that we're punching a specific syllable. And it means that you're punching a syllable because it's literally breaking a rule that they have. And in order for you to pronounce it correctly, when you see it written out, you have to know which syllable do I punch harder. So it just so happens that a lot of verb tenses wind up getting accent marks, okay? And comer en presente doesn't have a lot of accent marks. Como, comes, come, comemos, etc. Bien? But once we flip into the past, comer does get comí and comió, okay? That comió and the comí have an accent mark because we want to punch the end. And by punching the end, we are breaking the rule of how that word is supposed to be pronounced. So we're telling somebody who's reading it, in this case, oh, you're punching the end. Oh, it means comí, okay? That's preterite, but different tenses also get accent marks. And, okay, por ejemplo, comía, all of those imperfectos get an accent mark. Comía, comías, you used to eat, comíamos a las 6 de la tarde. We always used to eat dinner at 6, okay? Entonces, en imperfecto, todos los verbos. All the verbs get that because that's what imperfecto does. Some other tenses will not get accent marks, like a command, coma, eat, yeah? Or that verb as subjunctive stays coma. So, mamá quiere que su hijo coma. Mom wants her kid to eat. Okay, that does not carry an accent mark. But if I throw comer into different things like, como por ejemplo, comeré es futuro. That's a future. I will eat. The way to say true future tense. Okay. Or, por ejemplo, comería is what they call condicional. I would eat. Oh, if I could, I would eat at that restaurant. If I had enough money, I would eat at that restaurant. I would do that, meaning we're talking about a hypothetical kind of situation, right? So different tenses, yeah, you'll get accent marks. You'll get accent marks, and you just need to know that from hearing it, from studying it, from seeing it. So, but not all the time. Not all tenses carry an accent mark. Not all verbs in any single tense necessarily carry an accent mark. It's sadly just the way that goes. Okay. Bien?
A question.
Sí, dime.
I'm confused with that. The other one that you're talking about, coma, mamá quiere que su hijo coma. Why
Yeah.
it's comma?
Why is it
It's
coma?
like, because if you're, I don't know, if you give a comment, usually you're saying it like, you eat or you something like that.
Yeah.
But this is like, why don't you just use comer?
Why not just comer? Because they have this funny thing called subjunctive, which English does not have, or technically we kind of have subjunctive in English, but we hardly ever use it. And we use it in very limited situations. So here's what subjunctive means. Subjunctive, actually, it's a good thing to know about because subjunctive my friend from Chile, I once asked to try to get a handle on, oh, we're teaching these kids subjunctive at this stage. Wow, should we really be teaching it in third year Spanish and first year Spanish? How often do you actually wind up using subjunctive? And she said, oh, in our family, like at a conversation around the table, oh man, 60% of the time we'll use subjunctive, maybe more, depends. So yeah, it's important. So here's what coma means. Coma, I'm trying to get this to, I'm still struggling with my new whiteboard. Wow, I can only grab it out to make it big that way. I have to be very precise. Okay, coma looks like a command, doesn't it? Yeah? You just said commands. Oh, it looks like an usted command. And it's kind of related to that idea. If I say to the people at the dinner table, you're sitting down for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner, and you yell at, come on, you say to everybody, hey, eat. You're telling people to go ahead and start doing that, right? Come on, eat up, folks, eat. That's a command. But when you say that to them, come on, they're not yet eaten. They didn't dig in yet, did they? They're sitting there waiting for, is it okay to start? And you say, come on, eat up. All right. And that means the action really, it's a command. It isn't really happening yet. It isn't really happening yet. Okay. And coma is also, or coman, either way, also is what we call subjunctive. And subjunctive belongs to a different mood in Spanish. And that difference between me levanto, me levanté, I got up, and me levante, it's the same thing. Me levante is subjunctive. Subjunctive means the action isn't happening at this time. And I'm going to try to get that bubble to disappear. Okay. The action isn't really happening at this time. It is possibly doubtful. It is, you know what? The best thing you can compare it to in English is one of these words, might or may. But in English, we don't always express an idea that way. All right. The closest we have to it in English is that idea of might. All right. But in English, you're never going to say, Mom wants the kids to eat. In English, you're going to say, Mom wants the kids to eat.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't even use that. Okay. If you express this idea of Mom wants the kids to eat, Mom wants the kids to eat. We just have the to eat. All right, as an infinitive. We might say maybe Mom, or you could hear somebody who's learning English say it this way. Mom wants that the kids should eat. Somebody who has subjunctive in their native language, like Spanish, learning English, might express that idea that way. Mom wants that the kids should eat. I want you should do this for me. I want you should do this for me. If somebody says that in English, it means in their own language, they've got subjunctive. And they're equating it they're translating it into a literal thing. But in English, you can't translate that literally because nobody says it that way. I want that you should eat. It sounds like, well, that's a little off. Okay. But in Spanish, the way that is expressed is with this thing called subjunctive. The eat part isn't really happening yet. The mom wanting it is really how she feels right now. That's a real feeling she has. And it goes into the real mood they have, which is what they say is indicative. Present tense is just one part of indicative. Indicative is a mood. It's not a tense. There are different tenses sometimes in these moods. Indicative mood has many tenses. Indicative mood has present, presente. It has imperfecto, imperfect, past. It has pretérito, preterite. It has condicional, conditional. It has futuro, future. Okay. Indicative is built up with lots of different kinds of tenses. All right. Subjunctive is built up into a few tenses as well. But for present, it means that it's going to come out this way. Mamá quiere, here's the real part. It's real present tense, indicative. Quiere que los hijos coman. Mom wants that the kids should eat.
Yeah.
Mom wants this. The fact that she wants it, it's a feeling she really is feeling right now. But that activity of coman, 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 it isn't happening yet. The kids might not eat at all. A couple of them may eat, and the other two may not eat. We don't know if the kids are going to eat. Mom wants this to happen. All right.
Ellen, somewhere I have a note, and who knows where it came from, that subjunctive requires two people or
It-
two
In
sets of
generally,
people?
yes.
Two
and some-
sets of people.
See, subjunctive requires two different people. Okay. And it requires two different people. And it requires that person number one has a hope or a wish or a desire, or is like telling them, you better. I want you to do this. The person number one has a hope or a wish or desire that person number two, or people in that group in number two, that they do something.
So that-
Any of you who have children know, me wanting my kids to do something doesn't mean they are going to do it. Okay. I want them to clean the bathroom. I want them to wash the pots and pans when they finish. I want them to drive to the store and pick up a couple of things, but that doesn't mean they're going to happen.
No.
Very
That's right.
real. It's very real that I want this. It might be very real for me to say, I hope. It might be very real for me to say, I'm asking them, or I'm telling them, or I'm demanding. But it doesn't mean that other thing's going to happen. So the very real part is my demanding, my telling them, my hoping or wishing or wanting. That's real. And that goes into presente, present, present, present. Okay. But the part that isn't happening yet has to go into what they call subjunctive. Okay. Okay. So let me show you a couple of other examples of when that will happen, because you will hear this a lot. Instead of, but you can see where somebody going from Spanish to English, they're thinking might, may, should, and they may literally say one of those words. Okay, but English doesn't use those words. Another idea that would use subjunctive would be something like this. And these sound like commands because subjunctive is formed exactly the same way that commands are formed. Same way. Same way. Okay, so mamá, mamá espera que todos vengan a las 8. Mom hopes that everyone comes at 8. Mom has a real desire. She hopes. Espera que. So what subjunctive has is person number 1, mamá, who is not the same person as todos, everybody. Yeah. We need to have a verb that indicates a desire, a wish, a hope. It could be a whole bunch of different kind of verbs that express this. It could even be something as she tells them. She tells them. She demands that. She recommends that. She suggests that. All those things indicate a desire on somebody's part. But this other activity is not happening right now at this time. And because it is not a part of real time action, it has to go into what they call subjunctive, which sounds like a command because it's formed just the same way as a command. Okay, so here's the key to subjunctive. Person number 1, different set of human being in number 2, human beings. A verb of desire or wishing, and this word que, which winds up being kind of super important. This que is not the que of what, it's the que that means that. Mom hopes that que everybody comes. Y es así. And it works out that way. But subjunctive is not hard to form. It is very legitimately hard for English speakers to understand why the blankety blank do they do that. They do that because that activity of coming in, is not really happening yet. And whenever we have an activity that isn't really happening, it's part of it's an uncertain world. It's floating out there somewhere in the future, but it's not real yet. It's not really happening. So it has to go into that thing called subjunctive. Subjunctive is a conceptual thing. Usually you do have to have 2 separate people and they're connected by that word que. And that person number 1 has to have a wish or a hope or a desire or something like that. Okay, see, bien? Okay, that tells you the why. If you feel like I still don't get this, please know that you're very normal. Okay, but I want to focus on past. We can come back to this another time, absolutely, for sure. But
like in about 6 months.
Yeah, in about 6 months. But the question came up, so I didn't want to ignore the question. And also, I wanted you to see why that pronouncing me levanté, it's so important to hit that te. Me levanté makes it past. Me levante means something totally different. It's a legitimate word, but it takes that action of levantarse into a different realm. Me levante takes it into the realm of, well, maybe I'm going to get up and maybe I'm not going to get up. Don't know because it hasn't happened yet. Tomorrow isn't here yet. So I don't know when I'm going to get up. Okay. Bien.
So the subjunctive, it only has two congregations, like a command.
You know, in a way, subjunctive and commands are kind of joined. They're
Okay.
joined in a way. In a way, they are at literally two different moods, because command is like, hey, do it, do it, do it, do it, or don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And you're right, the command isn't happening yet. So that's how they're kind of connected. They're also connected. They're considered different moods, but because one is an order and the other is a little more soft pedal, they're different moods. But subjunctive is formed exactly like the usted and ustedes commands are formed, exactly the same. So it will
Okay,
sound
good.
like a command, but it's a subjunctive. All right.
Okay.
And sometimes, I'm just going to say one more thing before we finish off. And actually, I think I've got this planned for another time. Sometimes, this is something we're going to hear about later in the Monday class. Sometimes that thing of you have to have two people, sometimes they cut out person number one and they just start with this part. Sometimes.
We didn't see it.
And that sometimes you might not hear person number one. You might hear just que todos vengan a las 8. Hey, everybody ought to come, that everyone may come. But, you know, probably a more realistic thing for you to hear with the person number one cut out of that is something like this. Something like this would be, bye. A ver, okay. I'm struggling with my whiteboard here. Okay.
Yeah, it's not showing.
Oh, it's not showing. Wow. Well, I got to figure out why it's doing that. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Que tenga buen día. That's also subjunctive. Que tenga buen día. And we would say, have a good day. And it's kind of a command in a limp sort of way in English, right? Have a good day. Que tenga buen día. But really in Spanish, that idea is a subjunctive. And que tenga buen día, I hope. We're cutting out the part that says, I hope. I want you to have a good day. I hope you have a good day. And we just cut out the I hope part or the I want part. And we just left this dangling hangnail of, oh, have a good day out. And people will say that all the time. Que tenga buen día. And they'll say it as a way of, you know, oh, you're starting to leave the shop. Que tenga buen día. Have a good day. Oh, the cashier just finished ringing up your order at the grocery store. Que tenga buen día. Right. And they're saying it as part of their, you know, saying goodbye to you. And it's really subjunctive. It really is. Okay. Bien. Okay. Vale. Okay, and I'm going to leave that alone for now. I'm sorry, I got off a bit on that. Okay, vamos a practicar. But the question came up. Okay, bien. And don't feel like that's a lot to absorb. Just know it's out there. And so my point is, I want to make sure you're pronouncing it as me levanté, because me levante does mean something else. Okay, and the same thing with hablé. Hablé, I spoke. Hable is a legitimate word, but yeah. Quiero que Miguel hable en voz alta. I want Mike to speak up. Quiero que Miguel hable en voz alta. Hable means something totally different than hable. So if you don't punch that right syllable, it may to them sound like you're saying something else. And it will confuse them a little bit. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's take a look. Let's form some verbs. Vamos a hablar de esos verbos. Ok. Ay, tengo que compartir la. Ok, bien. Let's take a look at these. Pueden ver. Can you see the people here? Sí, la mamá y el bebé. Bien, bueno, y tenemos una veterinaria y con un perrito, con un perro. Ok, vale. Vamos a hablar en el pasado. We're going to talk just in the past. En el pasado. Y vamos a usar el pasado y puede ser cualquier cosa. It can be anything at all que quieren. Si vamos a hablar de la mamá y el bebé, ¿qué podemos decir? What can we do to put that in the past? Y no hay ninguna sola, no hay solamente una cosa. There's not just one thing we might say here.
La bebé comió.
La bebé comió la comida, ¿sí? La comida, ¿sí? El puré, the puree. La bebé es una chica o el bebé, depende. La bebé, el bebé es lo mismo. Ok, la bebé comió la comida o...
I, for one, don't have a clue what the word would be for to feed.
Y por eso tenemos la foto. For that reason, we have the photo. Okay. To feed es dar de comer.
Oh, give the food.
Dar de comer. De comer no cambia. De comer does not change, pero dar sí.
Dio,
Ma,
dio,
dio.
dio.
Eso es. Now, in order to make it para sonar natural, to make it sound more natural, we also dio, magnifico, dio. We have to talk. It's like that molar thing. We have to tell who it's happening to or who it happened to.
Oh, le dio.
Le dio. Ok. Bueno, vamos a ver. La mamá, vamos a ver, la mamá. La mamá le dio de comer al bebé. La mamá le dio de comer al bebé. Mom fed the baby. Okay. You could, if you didn't know the de comer part, es posible decir, la mamá le dio comida. La mamá le dio comida al bebé. También posible. También posible. Entonces, sí, la mamá le dio comida al bebé. La mamá le dio puré de patata al bebé. La mamá le dio puré de manzanas al bebé. Sí, también posible. Sí, no hay solamente una manera de hablar de la acción en la foto. ¿Ok? ¿Cómo se dice, por ejemplo? Mom gave food to the baby at 2:00 every day. Mom gave baby food at 2:00 every day, or 2:00, at 8:00, at 8:00.
Cada día la mamá le dio comida al bebé a los 8.
Mamá le
Dio.
if we're talking about every day.
Oh, you have to.
Le daba comida a las Ocho.
Used to give.
Used to, okay. Or at 8 every day. Una rutina. Si hablamos de una rutina.
Sí.
Si hablamos de una rutina. If we're talking about a routine, something that happened always at 8 o'clock, because she had to make sure it was an 8 o'clock thing every day, right? We would shift that back into imperfecto. Okay, bien?
Sí, sí, sí.
Seems like we need a siempre in there.
Siempre, siempre, sí, la mamá siempre, siempre le daba comida a las 8. Bien, sí, pero daba, dar es regular en imperfecto. Okay, now, you're not going to hear dio as often in this, but it would indicate a routine. You are going to, for you speaking, it's probably more important for you to know this dio. That is more common because we say somebody gave something to somebody else, and we mean an over with action. Okay, so I wanted you to see what it sounds like if we're talking routine, but in terms of normal everyday conversation, you're going to hear one of these two way more. It'll be more frequent because that's more we use more often. Okay. Quiero que ustedes hablen de la veterinaria y el perro. I want you guys to talk about the vet and the doggy. ¿Cuáles son las posibilidades? Ideas posibles.
El doctor escuchó.
La doctora, escuchó.
El corazón del perro.
Sí. Escuchó el corazón
del
perro. Sí. El latir del corazón, the beating heart, the heart rate, okay? Sí, okay, latir es esto. Latir, okay. Bien, sí, okay. Por ejemplo, examinar.
Examinó.
Examinó.
Del perro.
Examinó. Examinó al
perro.
Al perro, porque el perro es una mascota, es como la familia, es como una persona para nosotros, sí. Examinó al perro. Bien, sí. Ok.
El perro es muy lindo y muy feliz.
Bien. Ahora en el pasado. ¿Cómo se dice the dog was? El perro.
Estaba muy lindo y muy feliz.
Muy lindo y estaba muy feliz. And he felt very happy. ¿Sí? ¿Cómo se dice? The dog wasn't very happy during his appointment. The dog was not happy. El perro no.
Feliz.
No.
Fue.
No, porque wasn't happy es un sentimiento. This is a sentiment. This is how he felt.
No,
so
no.
It's description. Es descripción. Imperfecto. We've got cero estar. Feliz. Contento.
No estuvo. No estuvo. Feliz.
Estuvo es más como got. Es descripción en el pasado. if it's description of a feeling, we're going to need imperfecto. We do need estar, but we need imperfecto. El perro no
Estaba.
estaba contento
Durante el examen.
durante su cita, su visita, bueno, sí, sí, al veterinario, su cita con él o con la, porque es mujer, con la veterinaria. Sí, el perro no estaba contento, no estaba contenta. ¿Por qué es importante? No estaba contento, no estaba contento. Es descripción. Okay, if we're talking about how that dog was feeling, probably it's a description. We need imperfecto, we need estar. So estaba, no estaba contento. O sí estaba contento. ¿Bien? ¿Vale? Okay, but estaba contento is different than saying el perro era muy lindo. Oh, the dog was very cute.
Cute, pretty, cute.
Good looking, cute dog. Okay, era is a description also, okay, but it comes from ser. Era muy lindo, estaba muy feliz. We're talking about feelings, how you feel and how you are. Always uses estar. Estar imperfecto, porque es descripción, pero characteristic, ser. También imperfecto, pero ser imperfecto. Descripción, característica. Descripción, un sentimiento. Bien, sí, estar. Exacto. Okay, vamos a ver. We're going to do two more, well, maybe one or two, yeah, dos más. Two more easy things. And you can put it in description or you can put it in action, no importa. Vamos a hablar de las personas en la banda, quizás, maybe. Or maybe you want to talk about the people who are looking at the people in the band. No importa. Okay. There are no real right or wrong things to say about these.
La banda caminó en la calle.
La banda. La banda caminó en la calle. En la calle. We might even say por la calle, through the street. ¿Sí? Los dos.
Sí.
Okay. Caminó en la calle. Sí, correcto. Caminó por la calle, through the street. También correcto. Also correct. Okay. Bien. Excelente. La banda caminó.
I'm going to digress just for a second. As a native New Yorker, I'm thinking it says Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but they're walking down 6th Avenue, not 5th Avenue. I mean, not Broadway. They're on the wrong street. Somebody must have photoshopped this.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. Hay otra idea con la banda, sí, con quizás caminar, tocar con un instrumento, tocar.
Las personas usaban rojo, blanco y azul.
Okay. Tenía, bueno, depende. We'll make this a little bit easier. Llevaban, were wearing, es descripción. Las personas llevaban uniformes de rojo, blanco y sí, así, y azul, ¿ok?
Usaban no es correcto. Usa-
Se puede, you can. Here are two ways that I would use that. There are two ways to say where, and it kind of depends on who you're talking to. Llevar is used by some people in South America, but very much in Spain, llevar, to wear clothes. But some people in Latin America prefer this idea. Las personas tenían puestos, had put on them. Tenían, there's your verb. Tenían puestos, okay, uniformes. De blanco y rojo. ¿Sí? Uniformes rojos. Okay, let's make it a little bit simpler. Uniformes rojos. ¿Sí? Las personas tenían puestos, had on them. The puestos is the on them. Okay. Tenían puestos uniformes rojos. Rojos y blancos. Okay. Así. Es pura descripción. Imperfecto. Tenían puestos. Had on them. O llevaban. Wore. Usaban. Quizás. Maybe. Pero es más como were using. Ok. Es más común. Si queremos decir wear, to have it on your body, es más común decir llevaban o tenían puestos. Sí, quizás usaban, maybe usaban, but there are it kind of depends on who you're talking with. They might find those a little more natural. Okay, excelente. Bueno, un ejemplo más. Aquí, si hablamos de las personas aquí, en la familia, de la familia aquí, del mamá, la mamá, el papá.
La familia miró el árbol de Navidad.
La mamá, perdón, la mamá.
O la familia.
Ponía, was putting up, sí. Ponía el árbol de Navidad. Bien, sí. If we talk about she put it up and just using poner muy irregular en pretérito, if we want to use preterite, here is the beginning part we need. Pus. La mamá puso el árbol de Navidad. She put up. Okay, meaning it's over with. Ponía es como she was putting up. Or she used to put up the tree. Okay, entonces depende, kind of depends on how you express that. Okay, por ejemplo, la mamá ponía el árbol de Navidad siempre el 1 de diciembre. She always did this on the 1st of December. Meaning, otra vez, sí que es la rutina de la familia. Que es rutina, que ocurría cada año, el 1 de diciembre. Bien. Entonces, depende. It really depends on what you have in mind. If you have in mind, she used to do this on the same day, or she used to do this before Christmas, then ponía is the way you want to say that. If you want to say she did this yesterday. Then you want puso. Okay? Y depende. But look at all those things we've got going on. We've got going on, oh, if I want it to be a one-time only, I need that really irregular oddball thing that poner does, which is this, right? Versus this, which is way easier to make because es regular, poner, ponía, right? Regular endings for ER verbs, ponía, ponías, ponía, poníamos, ponían. See, so we have a lot of mental gymnastics we're going through to get to this if we talk about a one-time kind of event. I am going to give you a couple of pictures in this slide set to talk about next week, la semana que viene. We are already at 11:30, and I know some people already had to leave to go do other stuff that's important for their day. So, sí. Okay, bien, sí, hora y media. Okay, I'll make sure I'm not ending this too fast. Okay, está bien. Are we good?
Gracias.
Okay. Okay, fantástico. I will also send you another story to listen to, which will have lots of past tense in it. So that'll be your listening piece, and then I'll give you some pictures to ponder and come back and come up with some ideas next week. ¿Está bien?
Sí,
Bien, bien.
Excelente, excelente. Muy bien. Entonces, sí, que
Gracias.
tengan buen día, que tengan buen día, que ustedes todos tengan buen día. Y
Marilyn, I just wanted to thank you that you allow me, like, every time I come late.
it
because
is,
I have another,
ay, no te
and
preocupes.
every Wednesday, I have to take turn. One Wednesday I can come, another day I can come, but it's kind of late.
No te preocupes. Do not even worry about
Appreciate
that.
that.